Okay, guys, we've covered rule number 1. Now let's move on to tip number 2. And tip number 2 is going to be I hope you can see it. Always learn from context. Okay? Don't go for the definition. Don't try to define the word, or don't look up what the definition of the word or phrase is. Okay? This is also really important. It's a small tip, but it's really, really important and useful. Try to figure out the meaning of the word from the context or from the different contexts it is used in. So get examples. Don't focus. Forget about the definition. Get as many examples as possible, as many different examples as possible. So let's say you want to learn the phrase this is the phrase. So first we need to know how to pronounce it. It's to compare someone to someone else. To compare someone to someone else. Or to compare something to something. Okay? Let's imagine you don't know the meaning of this word. Okay? So you try to get examples. For example, let's compare Al Pacino. Okay, let's compare Al Pacino to Robert De Niro. Okay? Well, I think, in my opinion, Al Pacino is a better actor than Robert De Niro. Okay? Let's keep comparing Al Pacino to Robert De Niro. I think Al Pacino is a bit older and also a bit richer. Okay? So let's compare. I'm comparing Al Pacino to Robert De Niro. Okay? If you still don't grasp the meaning, you find it difficult to figure out the meaning, go for another example. Get more examples. Okay? So for example, you can say, let's compare the Polish people with the French. Okay? For example, the Polish people are more friendly, or the French people are more friendly than the Poles. Okay? Maybe the Polish people are more hardworking or less hardworking than the French. Okay? So we are comparing something to something else. We're comparing two things, two people, a man, a woman, whatever. So to compare something to something. This one is easy. This particular one is easy. Next time I will have something else, more difficult, more examples to better perhaps illustrate this tip, this principle. But always try to figure out the meaning from context. It will help you to remember it better, and you'll learn a very useful skill, actually. It's a very, very useful, important skill to have. You need to learn how to figure out the meaning of phrases. Perhaps you don't know at all. Perhaps you know a bit. You're not quite certain about. So you need to figure out. You need to look at the overall context in which it is used. Nothing? If nothing after, then you have to still not getting it. And then you get more examples, okay? More and more examples. Then later you may define it, you may look up the definition of the word, obviously. But it's an important skill to have in your arsenal when you're learning. Try to figure out the meaning. Particularly important if you, for example, it's always important, obviously, it's always important, but when you're learning to work with text, when you're practicing or learning how to read in a foreign language, it's very, very important, because written language is more, it's richer, it's more varied, it has more sophisticated, less useful, maybe less common words, more sophisticated words, and you need to learn how to figure out the meaning of the word, of the target phrase, so that it doesn't bother you when you're reading, and you still get the meaning of the context, the overall, the gist of the situation, what you're reading about, or what someone is talking about to you, what someone is telling you to do. So go for the overall meaning, and then maybe you can define the word or find its definition. But focus on examples first. very, very useful.